Hey, so I'm back with showing off more of the marbles. So I don't have any more bugs to show from the last video, but I do have some more progress to show. So I've been toying around with the physics, getting things to behave just a little bit better, and then kind of just working through the overall, just getting it to smooth out and kind of work better. So far, when it comes to the physics, they are moving more appropriately. We've got lower friction, so it turns out Minecraft's friction system is entirely built for, walking around. If I'm walking around, there's a certain amount of friction the block is going to give me. It's going to slow me down so much as I walk or move or as boats go across it, etc. I don't think it matters as much for walking as it does matter for stopping, per se. So if you were sliding and you weren't really moving, but you were still moving, you see this on ice more commonly. Most blocks have a 0.6, ice has a 0.98, packed ice is like 0.989. It basically, there's a whole system for it. So I went ahead and introduced a +2 to everything, and you'll actually start seeing this now. Marbles will start to slide around. I still haven't got collisions to work perfectly. And this has a bit to do more with kind of, I wouldn't say it's the limitations of Minecraft itself, it's more of the limitation of how far I'm willing to code things to make them behave more like physics engine. Because obviously I kind of would like to see this go as similar to a lot of the marble like games you'll see 2D wise, but this is not bad. This, at least when they collide with each other, they'll try to push each other. The problem is when you get enough of them stacked up here, they do have collision boxes. They will run into each other and they will just decide they don't want to move. Even though the collision boxes are not perfectly touching, the way collisions are kind of done in Minecraft is it does expand ever so slightly the bounding box to then determine how collisions are done. That way you don't get stuff stuck into each other. Now I am going to make these a bit smaller, which eventually will help a lot with how they're kind of getting stuck and moving around and everything else. But some of the things we've added since the last version is, one, I've decided to make stairs act as a kind of a pusher. This is just me. I don't want to add a lot more blocks to this mod, and I want to keep this mod down to just the marbles if I can help it. That may not stay the same throughout the entire development, because it will just get to a point where I need to add more blocks just to make this enjoyable to play with. But one of the things I have done is went ahead and set up a dispenser up here. Now, because these are items, at least according to how the game thinks they are, you can come up here and shove them in a dispenser, and they will actually shoot out. There's no special code for this. I haven't added special dispenser logic, because for those of you who do modding, you can add special dispenser logic to just about everything if you want to. I can make them plant crops, for example. But these are literally just shooting an item out, and when the item gets shot out, Forge is actually taking over and saying, hey, rather than spawning the item entity, we're going to spawn this custom item entity that I've built up for the marbles. And they're going down here, and the stairs are just pushing them down along the line. There actually is some interesting bugs I found while doing this. Not from my own code, but from Mojang's code. So it turns out when an item is actually detecting friction for sliding around, it is detecting for one block below it. But if it sits on a stair, it will actually detect the dirt block below it. So I actually had to do some little bit of fixes for that to make it detect the stair as it was going down. Because if it stopped on that second step coming down, it would just stop moving. Because right now how it's going is it's going, hey, I'm on top of a stair block. The stair block, depending on the direction, is just going to push me. That's all done via the entity logic. I've not changed the stair at all, and I don't plan to change the stair at all. So this means I can add other blocks if we want to, and give them unique behavior based on the entity alone. But they are moving around. They are just kind of acting the way I kind of want them to act for the most part, at least from a fundamental point of view, to get this running as a mod. Now I'm probably going to move over to working on a little bit of the graphics and fixing the scale. We do have a new texture thanks to how do I say his name again? I am going to have to open Discord to grab his name, but I think it's Appleism Jackadaw from the Minecraft mod development Discord. Went ahead and gave us a Christmas gift with a new texture. And this kind of defeats the whole idea of mod jam, because you're supposed to make a lot of the stuff yourself. But I couldn't turn down a marble texture that looks really cool. It's huge in the inventory. It's big. It looks really large in the hand, but it does look really nice. And I am thinking when I go to make the model, I'm going to try to make some of them look this way. I'm not going to make all of them look this way simply because I do want some diversity in how the textures and visuals look. I want to get some solid like plastic marbles you would see with early kids' toys, and then I want to do some of the nicer glass ones, which is what I have a whole bag of here. I did not buy the bag for making this mod. I had bought a whole bag of marbles because we were watching the marble races you will see on YouTube, and I'm like, you know what, I want to build that with 3D printing, and we're planning on, once I get my printers working, which is proving to be an insanely difficult thing to get done because not a single one of our printers wants to behave well. When they get working, we're building marble tracks and actually running marble sound. I don't know if I'll ever upload that to YouTube and show that off, but it is something I kind of want to have fun doing because it's neat. And I have a whole bag of 100 marbles of the small kind, and I have 10 of the big ones. One of the things I do know I am going to be planning with this mod, because this is not just meant to mimic marble racing, is I do want people to actually try to play marbles as if you would the Kisto. I don't know if people are familiar with one of the original gameplay ways marbles were done, and I'm barely familiar with it because I only got introduced to it like when I was like 2 or 3. Like, I've never actually played with marbles in the sense that the way the game was meant to be played. Because marbles was an early game that was made. I think they were actually just made as like a novelty to start with, and then somebody made a game out of them back before computers were a thing. But you would have a circle, and your ideal was one person would have so many marbles, and another person would have so many marbles, and they place the marbles, and your goal was to knock the marbles out. And if you knock the marble out, you got to keep it. It was, I think, how it worked. And so the ideal is I want to be able to go like, hey, you've got a marble here, and then you go like that, and you'll kind of kick it, and you'll knock a marble out, and you'd be able to play the actual little marble game that you just see sold. And of course, I want people to be able to build marble races. This is actually the original inspiration for it, was the marble races. I'm like, we have mods like Create. Create has a lot of these movable objects that you can move, ramps and stairs and everything else, that you'd be able to push these marbles around. And I'm really hoping, because I haven't toyed with this because this is 1.18, I do not know if 1.18 has Create updated yet, but I am hoping when we do get a chance to do it that I don't have to add custom logic for Create, and that Create will just push the marbles around, and people can build crazy contraptions, because I would love to see some amazing things. Because right now with vanilla, we really don't have a lot to really do much with, because we have trapdoors, and I think if somebody was smart enough, they probably could get the trapdoor to flick marbles. I need to be able to get a marble on top of this first. But yeah, we have trapdoors, we have pistons. Right now, pistons don't do much, and I'm going to keep this how it is currently, simply because this is the vanilla way that pistons are used. They just push things. They don't apply energy, they just move stuff around. That I'm going to keep consistent, just because the same way every other entity in the game will play. Now, if another mod has pistons that flick stuff around, that'll be exciting, because then we can use them with the marbles and do cool things. But anyways, I'm going to leave it here and go back to developing this, and we'll see how the content evolves out.